Welcome to the House Edge Sports Network, the pulse of youth sports.
What's up, everybody? Episode 3 of the HESN podcast. I'm your host, Tyler McLaren. Glad to be back with you guys today. This podcast is a different podcast than what we've been doing normally. The first 2 episodes have been football shows, and this is the first hockey show that we're going to be doing this year. We're really excited to be continuing our work with the CCHL and some specific franchises within the CCHL. And today, I'm really glad to be joined by a friend of mine from way back in the day who I played sports with when I was younger. He's good friends with a lot of my good friends, and we've known each other our whole lives. So it's really great to see that Jeff Jordan is the new head coach of the Kanata Lasers and the Kanata Lasers Midget AAA team. So it's going to be a great conversation, talking a little bit about what they're up to, a little bit about what's going on in the CCHL. On the CCHL podcast, we're going to be having tons of great guests. You can count on most head coaches and general managers, and in some cases owners. In some cases they're all the same person. We'll be on the podcast from most of the franchises. We'll definitely have Kevin Abrams on there. We'll definitely have some scouts throughout the season that we talk to throughout our misadventures throughout the CCHL season that starts September and really starts Labor Day weekend at the Showcase. It's always a great time of year once football and once hockey starts. I'm a football player myself. I never played a day of hockey on the ice in my life with equipment or anything. I always played on the pond or played road hockey with my neighbors, but I love the sport and I love both sports. I'm really glad to be working with the CCHL, where obviously we've been doing lots of great stuff over the last few years. So make sure when you guys go to the HESN YouTube channel, you subscribe, obviously, first things first. But also go check out some of our old hockey stuff. We got some great features that we've done on some players and teams. We've done a couple of good Game 7 features looking at the intensity that the CCHL brings every time the playoffs roll around. We're just really excited to be trying to make sure that we keep everybody up to date with all things CCHL throughout the regular season. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the HESN podcast. Make sure you guys pay attention to when we're doing a hockey one. We'll always let you guys know. And without taking too much more of your time, we're going to get right into our interview with the brand new head coach of the Midget AAA Kanata Lasers, and most importantly, the Junior A head coach of the Kanata Lasers. And that interview is with Jeff Jordan. Hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to the House Edge Sports Network, the pulse of youth sports.
All right, well, I'm glad to be joined by the new head coach of the Kanata Lasers Midget AAA team, and most importantly, the Junior A team in the CCHL, Jeff Jordan. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
No, thanks for having me, Tyler.
Funny story, Jeff Jordan and I actually go back a long way. We have many of the same friends. We grew up in the same neighborhood. We have a baseball championship together that we always reminisce about every time we get together. But no, it's really great for me, a person who's been involved with the CCHL the last few years and really still learning how the whole hockey system works and everything, to see a guy my age and some sort of from my neck of the woods have become such a successful coach, and see him rise in the ranks and living out his dream and doing all these great things. And I'm really happy and really proud of what you've accomplished, and I'm really excited to see what you can do this year with the Kanata Lasers.
No, thanks very much. A long time ago, Canterbury Little League Baseball, and here we are now. So, I'm really excited to be in Kanata. Real good guys in the organization, and the AAA program, since it came in last year, that team was really skilled, and we're looking to help the guys from the AAA team make the Junior A team, of which this year we're looking at several of making that jump. So real excited to be aboard and can't wait for the season to start. So,
talk to us a little bit about your coaching history. I know you've been rising the ranks really quickly over the last 5 or 6 years, but give the people who maybe don't know who Jeff Jordan is a little bit about your background, so they can understand a little bit about why you're the right man for the job.
Sure, yeah. I started coaching 9 years ago now. A few of my friends were assistant coaches with the AA Ottawa Sting midget team, and they asked me to come out and work with their goalies. And so I came out to a couple practices, had some fun, saw the kids getting better, and so it just stuck with me. So the following year, I joined the team full time. I coached both the D and the goalies. The year after that, the Ottawa Sens AAA organization reached out to me and So I went over there and coached with them as an assistant coach with the 96s in major bantam and minor midget. And actually in that minor midget year, I was also an assistant coach with the major midget team. So it was my first taste coaching two teams at once, which is a little foreshadowing for years to come, obviously. My third year at the Sens, they gave me the reins of the midget AAA team, and had a real good 96 group of guys. So a lot of fun to coach, and they taught me a lot in that first year. The second year of coaching, we recruited some real good players coming out of Kanata AA, Troy McTavish and Colin Baggio. We had Alex Keeley come out of the Ottawa Sting, and so that second year with the Sens team, we actually went off and won the silver medal provincials. We were third period away from beating the Toronto Nats to go through the TELUS Cup, which so close but so far. And so the year after that, we were pretty determined to get back there and try to win that provincial championship, and we did really well in the league. I think we went 26-2 in a regular season, 8-1 in the playoffs, and we got down to the provincials again, and pesky Toronto Nats eliminated us once again, and they went on to win a national championship. So close, but it was a real good team that beat us out, those Nats teams. And so in my second year with the Sens AAA is when I actually started coaching with the Cumberland grads as well. I met Mr. Barvin, and the coach at the time was Jamie Mayo. And so I joined those guys and started the season off with them, and had a real good showcase. And, a week after the season started, Pat Higgins from the 67s had called me up and offered me a spot in an interview with Jeff Brown for a video assistant coaching position. And I went to that interview, and Jeff Brown, I always joke with him about it. He's very intimidating when you first meet him. And so I sat down, all happy-go-lucky, and he looked me square in the eyes and said, "All right, who are you? Why are you here? What do you bring to the table?" And so I sort of perked up my seat and realized, okay, he's going to be pretty upfront, and so I'm going to try to match out with him. And obviously we got on really well. He offered me the position. And so I coached under him and Coach Eastie for the last 2 years with the OHL over 67s as well. Last year as well was the first year with the midget AAA league. So the Sens AAA midget team no longer existed. So I also coached the Nepean Raiders AAA team. And that was a lot of fun as well. Funny enough, the Kanata Lasers were the ones who eliminated our season last year in Nepean in the semifinals, and Kanata went on to win the championship. So I was joking with a few of my new Kanata players now back at our June main camp that I still had some verbal jabs from here and there, but I was going to let them enjoy it until the season started anyway. So they were having fun with that. And I've also coached with Team HEO last year, the OHL Gold Cup under a great coach, Sylvain Favreau with Cumberland. So Sil and I had a lot of fun down there. The year prior to that, I was an assistant coach with the Team Ontario for the Canada Winter Games. Did video and goaltending work for them, and we were fortunate enough to win the gold medal. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun over the last 8-9 years, and certainly been lucky along the way. But we've made some great relationships, and really happy to have been given opportunities that I have.
It's always great to hear, people sort of rise the ranks the right way. You've done it all. You've done the multiple levels and multiple age groups. You've moved around in organizations. You had the opportunity to work under lots of great people. You talk about Jeff Brown being intimidating. I get intimidated just looking at that guy on TV. It looks like he's got quite a mean streak, but I'm a huge supporter of what he's been doing with the Ottawa 67s, being a big 67s fan myself. Sylvain Favreau, obviously an exceptional coach with what he did last year with the Cumberland grads, and Steve Barbin over at Cumberland, a huge supporter of what we're doing here at HESN, and we are always grateful of all the support he's given us, and at HEO, and we know Kevin Abrams is involved there, and all the guys that you've been with. So it's really great to hear all the wealth of experience and knowledge that you've gained just by working with so many great people around. Now, talking about all that wealth of experience, tell me what makes Jeff Jordan a great hockey coach. What are some of the strengths that you bring to a team, and why you've been so successful as a coach?
Well, it's a lot of fun. First and foremost, I've been fortunate enough to coach full time without having to work in, quote, the real world for the last couple of years. And it's just a lot of fun, right? So I don't actually refer to it as working. You show up every day to the rink, and if you're doing video or off ice or whatever it is, you're around a great group of guys that are all trying to make each other better, and it fuels each other, right? So, you always hear your parents say growing up that, when you truly find a job or profession that you love, it's not really work, and it's a lot of fun, and that can be more true with the situation I'm in. So that's what gets me going. It's a lot of fun, and even in the off season here, you still watch video, and you're getting ready, and you're tinkering, and you're trying to think of ways you can improve on things you did last year, and you're 10 different coaching clinics to hear guys talk about different ways of doing things or different perspectives to take on certain things. So it's just a lot of fun, and like I said, I'm certainly lucky that I have the opportunity to call this my full-time job.
And I couldn't agree with you more, working in the type of work that Jesse and I have been working with House Edge Media and House Edge Sports Network, to be able to work a job that you feel so passionately about, and you know that when you get up for work in the morning and you need to do a task, it's not, you don't mind doing it because you love doing it, and that's a lucky thing. So I think we're all lucky to be around sports in general and have that be considered a quote-unquote job. Now, you have been given the keys, per se, let's just say, the keys to the Cadillac for the Kanata Lasers. You're the head coach of the midget AAA team. You're the head coach of the junior A team. Your opinion and your staff, your group, your team that you have is going to be, you are the ones that are going to determine the future of the Kanata Lasers organization. What are some of the things that you're really excited about going on in Kanata right now?
Well, I mean, first of all, the keys were given to our GM, Adam Gibson, who's done a phenomenal job over this offseason of not only bringing myself in, but bringing in the rest of my coaching staff and being really open in terms of what direction we want to go in. As far as we're concerned, it's a blank slate this upcoming year. And across the league, there's not a whole lot of expectations for us. So, we can really make the most of it and, look at it as sort of a free year. And without that stress of trying to meet certain, goal expectations and whatnot, we can just go out and have fun. And with the group of players we have coming in, the young guys, we're really excited about the potential of this roster, not only this year, but for years to come. Gibby has a Cadillac. Gibby dusts it off and he drives it around town. And I'm certainly just doing my part to try to make the organization better each day.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Adam Gibson, he was the GM for many years at Brockville, and they had some great runs there. I know they had tons of great players at Brockville over the last few years. So that's I didn't know that. So that's great to know that you got another great member of sort of the brass, the front office, and the coaching staff going to be working together with you to really find some of that great talent around our country and our continent, actually, now, because CCHL is sort of a North American destination now.
Yeah, no, Gibby and I have known each other for the last 3 or 4 years. We used to see each other at rinks. He'd be scouting players, and I'd be scouting our teams coming up for the next couple of weeks. And so we've sort of known each other here and there. And he called me up at the end of the AAA season, and we started talking. And, I realized pretty quick that he's drinking the same Kool-Aid I am, right? And he believes in the long-term development model, and especially with the opportunity with the new AAA system of developing players from AAA, hopefully getting them straight to junior A within a year or two time. And then helping them, a year or two after that, either go to a major junior or NCAA. So, yeah, I knew early on that it was going to be a great fit. And, again, with the potential of the young players coming into the organization, it was just an opportunity I couldn't pass up. And I think the sky's the limit for us over the next year or two. Like, there's going to be a lot of teams, I think, going into the season might not think too highly because of years past, which – by all means, I understand. But I think after the season starts, they'll see Kanata's going to be a lot more competitive next year. And we certainly tend to give a lot of teams a good run for their money.
Now, we're going to get into, after I ask you this next question, we're going to get into some specific players and some people we need to watch out for. But before we get into that, why is the CCHL such a great league, and why is it even getting better with this new midget AAA system that they have set up last year?
Well, for starters, I mean, the travel schedule alone is phenomenal. I mean, the players are going to sleep in their own beds every night. I mean, talking from experience with the OHL schedule, the road trips are the bulk of the heavy lifting in an OHL season, right? I mean, it's a grind when you're coming back from a bus eating McDonald's from Sudbury at 5 in the morning. So for the players to sleep in their own beds every night, I think is a huge key. Obviously, Kevin Abrams has done an exceptional job at promoting the league and exposing it to major junior, NCAA, and obviously NHL scouts as well. So for the upcoming showcase every Labor Day weekend, like he has that place packed, and he's done a great job. So I think the players, they want to be in an environment where they can develop, they can get exposure, and they can get opportunities to move on to the higher leagues, and this league certainly does that, provides everything for them.
So we talked about why the league is so good. We talked a little bit about your experience, what makes you so good, and about the team, the great people that you're going to be working with at the Kanata Lasers. Now, talk to us a little bit about some of the players that you're really excited about in your organization at the junior A level this year.
Well, I mean, I could talk about every single one of them.
Let's work it. Let's make it like maybe a not a top 3, but just some of the guys maybe that are going to come in under the radar, or some guys you think could really become maybe not a quote unquote star, but a major contributor. Some guys that for the people who maybe, like you said, don't have any expectations of Kanata. Who are some guys we might need to just keep an eye on?
Well, up front, I mean, we've made a few moves so far in the offseason. Most notably, we were able to acquire Paul Vela from Gloucester, who led their team in scoring last year. At our camp in June, man, I was really excited by what I saw up there. He's a great kid, great work ethic, and he's super skilled. So I think he's going to be one that we're going to lean on heavily this year for producing offense. Other guys that are going to turn some heads. Eric Breton, he missed the majority of last season with a bad lower body injury. He's back to 100% coming in this season, so I think he's really going to be a dynamic player for us. We have Ryan Horvath, who's coming back from Stansted College. Man, this kid's got friggin' jets. He's got a great nose for the net, and he contributes at both ends. So for a 99 as a rookie in the league, I think he's gonna really stand out. Other forwards played on the AAA team last year. Bennett Stockton and Luca Nocita, we signed out of our camp in June. Both those guys had an exceptional year last year at AAA, and I think they can translate it up to Junior A. I mean, they just have good hockey brains, as Jeff Brown always refers to, good hockey brains, and they see the ice really well. There's some other veterans coming back, too, that I'm going to lean on heavily for leadership with the younger crew and obviously for offense as well. And, Declan Hilton, MacArthur, Gauthier, from top to bottom, the forward core is very dynamic, and I think their skill sets complement each other very well. On the back end, I think they're going to be very tough to play against. One of the first moves we made was acquiring Dan Porter from Nepean. Dan and I have a history. I coached him for 2 years in the midget AAA. In his second year at AAA with me, he was the captain of the team and went off to provincials. We lost in the semifinals, but he was an exceptional leader, and so I knew one of my first moves I needed quality leadership in, and so Dan certainly brings that. And he had a quiet year last year in Nepean, but frankly, I think he's going to have an exceptional year this year, and he's really going to take off. Other guys back there, studs, I'm going to lean on. I mean, big Luke Sepper and Sam Tremblay. That's going to be a real tough pair to play against.
Yeah.
And, other teams' top lines are certainly going to be paying the price with having those two guys on the ice. And for big men, they skate really well and contribute offensively. So I think that's a great combination to have. A couple young guys on the back end, McKinnon and Carlson. Again, two-way guys, tough in our own zone. But again, at the end of the day, they're just smart. They don't overextend themselves. They just play their position and jump up when they can. On the back end, really excited about young goalie we have signed, Ryan Franz. He comes aboard from the South Central Coyotes midget program. Gibby had recruited him in Brockville last year, and it didn't quite work out, but he was one of the first names Gibby had talked about when we got over to Kanata, that he was going to come in, and sure enough, he came into our camp in June and stood on his head, and so I think as a rookie in the league next year, he's also going to have a real good opportunity to prove himself out there and to garner some exposure. So, again, you look at the roster, they complement each other really well. A great balance from forward to D, and I think we're going to have some solid goaltending. So, the recipe's there. We have all the pieces, and I think it'll work out really well for the Lasers next year.
Well, I've become such a fan of CCHL hockey that I really can't even put it into words. I wish there'd be more hype around the city from hockey fans about how great this hockey is. I know a lot of times, it's far away to go to Pembroke or to go to Carleton Place, but for teams like Cumberland and Gloucester and the Junior Sens and Kanata Lasers and the city teams, the price is right for the games and the level of hockey is fantastic. And I hope that trying to communicate that through this podcast and keep people informed about the great talent and the great talent of coaches and the great talent of GMs and all that stuff in the league, I really hope to see more people watch CCHL hockey, because I think obviously you will agree that the product on the ice is an exceptionally entertaining product. There's not too many boring CCHL hockey games, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And, every week, both teams should be in it for the 2 points, competing. And again, that coming to Kanata, in years past, perhaps it wasn't the situation, but we believe we have all the tools here that every game, 2 points are going to be up for grabs. And I think there's going to be a lot of one-goal games. We're just hoping that we come out on the right side of those one-goal games. Now, in terms of drawing more exposure locally, again, I think the Midget AAA program is really going to help promote players from AAA to Junior A. And, next year's roster for us, we're looking at having several local players, significantly more so than imported players. So I think having local ties, people are going to want to see their friends and family come out to games and watch them play and whatnot. And I think that's how you'll get a good foundation. Now you add on top of that some successful play and hopefully you draw some others out as well. But Kanata's a great young professional community that with all our young local players that are going to be on the roster, hopefully we see a lot more faces come out and support us next year.
Well, Jeff, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the podcast. This is going to be episode 3 of the HESN podcast, but it's actually the first hockey show that we're doing for this season. We're going to be doing tons of hockey shows throughout the year. We're going to be communicating with many coaches and GMs and players throughout the year, trying to help promote the league, help promote the sport. I wish you nothing but the best. I'll be keeping a close eye on the Kanata Lasers. I'll be coming out to games, and we'll be bringing the cameras with us, bringing the crew, so we can help get your guys some good exposure. And we're really looking forward to following you throughout the season and wish you nothing but the best.
No, thanks very much. And to go from Canterbury Little League Baseball to now being on your first hockey podcast, I know I've officially made it, so I'm going to hang my hat on that. But I'd be more than happy to join you throughout the course of the season and help out whenever I can. And thanks very much. I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year.
Jeff, you're a great guy, and you really deserve everything that you have gotten, and I really hope nothing but the best, and good luck, and we'll talk throughout the year.
No, thanks very much, Sean.
All right, brother.
Welcome to the House Edge Sports Network, the pulse of youth sports.
That was Jeff Jordan, the brand new head coach of the Kanata Lasers AAA and Midget AAA and Junior A team. Want to thank him for joining us on episode 3 of the HESN podcast. This was our first hockey show. I thought the interview was fantastic, and I hope that Jeff has a great season. I think that he is lined up to do some fantastic things with Gibby and the support that the organization looks like it's going to be giving their staff. I think there's some big things on the horizon for the Kanata Lasers, and you know what? They've struggled the last few years. Though the first few years that I was there, they weren't as bad as they have been. But I really feel that with this group of guys that they got in there, the fact that they're committed to it looks like a long-term solution. It's going to be really exciting to watch these guys go. I know, like Jeff was saying, there are the obvious contenders this year: Carleton Place and Ottawa, and it looks like Hawkesbury is going to be a great team as well. But you got to go to those next 6 teams or 5 teams that there's an opportunity for Kanata to sneak in there. And if these guys play well, play hard, I could foresee some success for these guys. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep you guys up to date throughout the season on the HESN podcast. This was a hockey show. This was episode 3. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this episode of the HESN podcast. Don't forget, as always, whether you're a hockey player, football player, basketball player, doesn't matter, male or female, any sport, go to HESN YouTube channel. Check out what we got going on there. You can click on all the links, go right to our website. On the website, you can become a member. You can get all this great information and make sure that you are fully aware of all the services that are offered to young athletes looking to better their lives through sports. HESN is the youth is the pulse of youth sports. So don't forget to check out what we're doing, and it's all great stuff. And again, I want to thank you for joining us. I'm Tyler McLaren. That was episode 3. Peace.